Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, St. Andrew businessman Dean Shaw shot dead. A businessman was shot dead on Shortwood Road in St. Andrew on Saturday afternoon. He has been identified as Dean Shaw, the owner of Shortwood Plaza, where he was attacked. Eyewitnesses alleged that men traveling on a motorcycle rode into the complex and opened a fire on Shaw. They were allegedly wearing hoodies. The police were on the scene. More details to come. Contractor to cover repairs after poor quality material used on St. Thomas Highway, says NWA. The National Works Agency says the deterioration of a section of the multi-billion-dollar Southern Coastal Highway in St. Thomas was due to poor material quality that the contractor is fixing at no cost to taxpayers. Works Minister Robert Morgan has instructed that the repairs be covered by the contractor, China Harbor Engineering Company, the NWA said in a statement on Saturday. The repairs are being done to the section of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project between Yellows Ponds and the Pamperet, and the motorists are to expect delays, the agency says. The NWA says sections of the roughly 1.6 kilometer stretch deteriorated in recent weeks. It was exacerbated by rains associated with Hurricane Beryl's passage in July. It says the minister authorized the repairs after touring the corridor on Friday. Based on technical assessments done, it was determined that poor material quality was the source of the problem, the NWA says. Minister Morgan has instructed that the bad material be removed and the road be repaired at no cost to the government. The matter is being treated as a defect under the contract for the works, which contractors, China Harbor Engineering Company, are mandated to fix. The cost of the repairs was not disclosed. The NWA says China Harbor Engineering Company started its mobilization on Saturday, and the works will be done over the next 3 weeks. Motorists are being advised to expect some delays in using the corridor from Salt Pond to Pamperet. The road at times will be reduced to single-lane usage, and motorists are being urged to reduce the speed, obey posted warning signs, and the instructions of flag persons. The Harbour View to Yellows Bridge leg of the project was officially opened in February. PNP joins the calls for Auditor General to probe CLA. The opposition People's National Party has joined the calls by workers of the Cannabis Licensing Authority for the Auditor General's Department to urgently investigate allegations of mismanagement at the entity. The CLA regulates the ganja and hemp industry and is an agency of the Auburn Hill-led Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. More than 12 workers have called for Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis to probe the CLA, pointing to a total lack of transparency since the disbandment of an oversight committee in January, shortly after it voted against an applicant who was subsequently hired. PNP spokesman on investment, trade and global logistics, Anthony Hilton, said reports suggest that individuals are being hired based on political affiliation rather than qualifications, leading to the abandonment of established human resource policies, including a committee dedicated to vetting employment applications. The alleged dismantling of the guardrails set up to ensure integrity in the hiring, promotion and the separation of staff members opens the possibility of the agency being captured by individuals without the necessary credentials to manage a sensitive body such as the CLA, which is charged with enforcement responsibilities, Hilton said in a statement on Friday. Hilton further stated that the loosening of hiring and retention oversight at the CLA comes against the background of early attempts by the parent ministry to permit the importation of cannabis or its extract from Canada for questionable purposes. The opposition spokesperson said the PNP is concerned that the ongoing public controversies surrounding the CLA have exposed the dubious human resource practices and compromised the corporate governance frameworks not only within the CLA but also across multiple agencies under the parent ministry. The CLA's Chief Executive Officer, Farrah Blake, has not responded to questions the news submitted last month. and the ministry said it was not aware of complaints of bad human resource practices at the entity. In January, the Human Resource Executive Committee rejected a candidate for the position of Director of Human Resource Management and Administration, citing insufficient qualifications. It suggested considering the candidate for a procurement division role instead. Shortly after the vote, the CEO dissolved the committee, citing a need to review its terms of reference. The committee has not been re-established since. The candidate was hired in February but resigned in May. Since the committee's disbandment, at least 10 positions have been filled, along with numerous reassignments and contract non-renewals. Concerns have arisen about new hires in areas such as administration, client facilitation, and HR not meeting basic requirements, positions are not being advertised, and individuals being confirmed in roles without interviews or before completing probation. According to the CLA's Human Resource Policy and Procedures Manual, the CEO is ultimately accountable for the exercise of the human resource management functions of the authority, and in carrying out such functions, the CEO shall establish accountability mechanisms to include a Human Resource Executive Committee. Curfew extended in Central Village. A curfew imposed in sections of Central Village, St. Catherine on Wednesday has been extended for 48 hours. The curfew was initially scheduled to end on Friday at 6 p.m., but the police have extended it to Sunday at 6 p.m. The coordinates are as follows. North along an imaginary line running east to west from the range at the National Police College of Jamaica to Windsor Road in the vicinity of the Prophetess Mary's Christian Church. West along an imaginary line running from Astrom, Jamaica in the vicinity of the eastbound lane of the Mandela Highway to the range at NPCJ. East along an imaginary line from Windsor Road in the vicinity of the Prophetess Mary's Christian Church to the compound taxi stand in the vicinity of a section of the eastbound lane of the Mandela Highway. South along an imaginary line from the compound taxi stand in the vicinity of a section of the eastbound lane of the Mandela Highway running east to west to Astrom, Jamaica. During the hours of the curfew, all persons within its boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. More than 13,000 GPS customers still without power. Jamaica Public Service says most of its 13,712 customers who remain without electricity since the passage of Hurricane Beryl a month ago are in St. Elizabeth. The figure is down from roughly 16,000 2 days ago, the company said in a statement on Saturday. The update comes as the JPS pushes to meet the August 12 deadline to restore power in all parishes except for St. Elizabeth. JPS says it has almost 38,000 customers in St. Elizabeth and the power has been restored to 26,000 so far. Full restoration is expected by August 31. St. Elizabeth will require sections of the network to do a rebuild, not just a restoration, said Hugh Grant, JPS President and the Chief Executive Officer. Meanwhile, JPS says most parishes are nearly completed, except for Manchester, which has a little over 1,000 customers awaiting supply. It says that there are some instances where customers are out of power due to access issues. It pointed to the community of Firehole in Hanover, where 30 customers are unrestored due to a landslide. The utility company says in West Ophelia in rural St. Andrew, more than a dozen customers are out as the JPS utility vehicles cannot access the location. JPS says its total customer base island-wide is 692,000, of which 98% are with power. Government and residents have expressed their frustrations at the delay in the full restoration of power since the hurricane skirting along Jamaica's south coast on July 3. Many coastal communities were left devastated. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.